Hello everybody, what is going on? Should be live now.
We are live.
We are live now. Hello, hello, hello.
Good morning, Olivia. Or it's good
Good
afternoon over there.
afternoon, good evening for you, right?
Yes, here we have it's almost it's 9 p.m. on the dot.
Yes, so we're gonna wait for people to come online for our fantastic James Bond truck routing episode. I really hope people put in their Bond movies in the chat because then I can look up some of the Skyfall locations or the film shooting locations and have some fun stuff. Let's see what's up. Do we have any viewers? Can I see? Should I be seeing viewers? I don't actually know. Normally in the new format it shows viewers. Okay, so we don't have a viewer yet, so we're just gonna hang out for a minute or so.
Yes.
We're just gonna hang out. We have 4 people.
I thought Skyfall locations were like in Scotland, if I'm not.
What a question! Which question? From Skyfall? Yeah, no. So we're trying to route from Hong Kong to Macau during this episode, since that's a very fun route.
Yes, there was an episode. Yes. There was a clip of the movie, a section of the movie that was in China. Yes, from Hong Kong to Macau.
Yes, and we are live. Yes, well, we have some viewers. We're gonna wait for people and then kind of get going and see what's happening and let people kind of come online for a couple minutes. It's been a minute since our devisode, so it's good to be back.
Yeah, I really missed these episodes.
I like them. I like them a lot. It's fun. Also, Twitch is it's nice. Feels a little less formal than the webinars. I like it.
We can experiment and we can show live coding, which is very nice.
Yeah, and we get to interact with people real time. Yes, we are back. We love being back. And I really wanted to theme this episode, which is why I really like the James Bond theme, because I figured we're going to talk about trucks, we're going to talk about hazardous loads, and that kind of got this whole like escape route aesthetic in my mind. I thought that was fun. To make a fun play on truck routing. What would you have picked for like a theme if we hadn't done James Bond?
Maybe something related to another theme, another TV show. You mean?
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that. I like Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, we tried to do Breaking Bad, except the bad part is that I haven't seen Breaking Bad.
Yes, we need to transport certain chemicals, because this is a fleet and logistic demo. We have chemicals from Albuquerque to Chicago.
Oh
the
yeah,
of Madrid.
That would be cool.
Remember?
Yes, yeah, I remember that. I would have done 24, except I feel like, what is it? 24 was where? 24 was like DC? LA? LA, okay. That would have been cool. Let's see. Maybe, okay, let's go and maybe like reintroduce ourselves. I'm gonna go to my next little slide about the About Us. Alright, let's do it. So, for everybody who's on the stream, I'm Olivia. I love privacy. I'm a huge privacy nerd. If you haven't been on the stream before, I also love programming in Python and iOS, and I'm a UX person, or at least I used to be more involved in UX. Still love it. I also used to code in x86 assembly because apparently that was very strange. I also like Haskell. It's very strange.
Haskell.
I like Haskell. Yeah, I took a quiz the other day and apparently like I'm a Haskell person, which I don't know. I don't know what that says about me. It says something. Definitely something. Not really sure.
Sure. It definitely says something about you.
Jose is an Android development person, so that works well.
Yes, I used to be for a long time a mobile developer, everything. So I started with Blackberries, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I used to work for Research in Motion to make the software for Blackberries.
Yes, yes, I remember that. That's very fun.
Yeah. Then I moved to Android. Yeah.
And you like modifying your EV.
Yes, I like everything electric vehicles. Yeah? So I have built my own electric bicycle, modify my electric motorcycle.
Sometimes, I can't wait to see that scooter again whenever I can go back. And I am trying to get Jose to put rainbow lights on his scooter because it's Pride Month.
A
And why?
will never happen.
But
I
it's
can give you
it's kind of hard to
purple.
set it all up. Purple's cool.
Yeah,
We like purple.
purple is my favorite color, so that's it.
That's about
Yes.
us. We're the dev advocates for TomTom, and we love hosting Twitch streams where we get to talk to you about code, and we have a nice friendly atmosphere where you can ask us anything. Beginner questions, advanced questions, random questions, whatever works.
Do we have a specific coupon code for each time we do the episodes, or it's the
Yes,
same?
we do. So on the ticker in the devisodes, you'll see a bit.ly, and that takes you to a form where we have a bunch of stream resources talking about what we use here, and it gives you a code for extra API transactions, so please use it. It's also
Nice.
linked in the panel below, where if you see access resources from the stream with that the little blue gears on it, we love that icon. That'll take you right there, and so you can use it to, when you register your account, to get more API transactions and help you build more so you can test more. It's a lot of fun. So type in that bit.ly that's in the ticker, or just scroll down and click on the link of the panel with the blue gears on it. We'll keep shouting it out throughout the stream. And then we'll head over to what we're actually going to be doing in the stream now that we've continued introducing ourselves. You can also ask us, if you're just coming on the stream, who we are, and we will interject more about ourselves because we like talking about ourselves. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be doing, if you're just joining, we're going to be talking about truck routing, which is not super linear, but we're going to talk about the different components like adding a tunnel on your route and how that involves route restrictions and hazardous loads, truck routing with specific heights and weights, which are really important to factor in, comparing routes between cars and trucks and then trucks with hazards, and avoiding freeways because with certain types of loads you have to avoid certain areas and certain different types of routes around like airports and things like that, which we'll talk about. Last time, if you've been watching the streams before, we talked about routing basics, but this time we're going to be going in a little bit deeper, talking a bit more beyond the basic routing. We built a basic route, and then we'll be talking about truck-specific routing. It'll be helpful if you register on developer.tomtom.com, because then you can have an account set up and work alongside with us.
The registration is free, of course. You don't need a credit. You don't need a credit card.
No, you don't. You absolutely don't. That's the fun part. This is a little bit about what we'll, like the deep dive of what we'll be doing. These are all the different, like sort of hazmat classes and everything that we'll deal with. These is from the documentation, right? So if you were to go on developer.tomtom.com, this is a snippet of the different parameters that make up truck routing, and the different tunnel restriction codes. And these are kind of, they look very nebulous, but really they just sort of cycle between different kinds of, and this is going to get really real really quickly, but cycling B, C, D, and E comes down to things like whether something has explosives, like B code is for dangerous goods, which can lead to an explosion.
Oh, yes.
Yes, C.
You mean the ADRs?
The ADR tunnel restriction codes, right. Jose, do you want to add in anything about it before I go through what happens with the different codes, which gets kind of intense, unfortunately?
Oh yeah, it's okay. In Europe we have every tunnel has to be registered to a specific tunnel code.
Yeah.
And this is, as you mentioned, this is the actually B, C, D, E. A means it's free to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And B, it's and every other level is more restricted than the previous one.
Yes.
And the advantage of our routing API is that you can set what kind of restriction do you have in your own truck or semi or van, and we will create a specific route, or the routing engine will create a specific route that will avoid or create a routing according to avoiding these tunnels, for example.
Yeah, yeah. So this is kind of, like I said, it gets kind of progressively more restrictive, obviously depending on the type of load you're carrying. If you're not carrying anything important in your truck, it's like a code A. And then B is for explosive, C is for explosives or toxic release that get further inclusive. D includes all of those and anything that can damage the environment. And then E includes all of that and then anything that can lead to water contamination. And I think there are a lot of specific UN codes that also apply to E, but those are kind of specific cases, so the most specific ones. And that affects what kind of, obviously, tunnels you can travel through and what kind of roads you can go on, which I'll kind of also show in the next slide. So like this is kind of the like high level example of, trucks require different fuel levels, like less winding routes and have different height and weight restrictions, different types of roads. They can't also go on every single type of freeway depending on what load they're carrying, or sometimes they can't go through near airports, which is very common. Unless they're carrying jet fuel for planes, they can't go near an airport just for safety reasons. So that changes where you go. It changes your travel time, which is really important.
Also, not only for trucks, but also if you're having a fleet and logistic company, deliveries, or like even inclusive food deliveries or packages deliveries. There are some areas that, as a commercial vehicle, you're not allowed to drive certain times, certain hours, and we also have that in our maps. So that means when we create a route, and you said this is a commercial vehicle, you will be the routes that will be created will be according and do not route you to that areas. For example, residential areas that they don't like to go over, trucks go over there, etc.
Yeah, no, exactly. And we'll talk about it, and you'll see it in real life when we obviously go through some of the code and things like that. But also different private property can set their own rules, right, for what's allowed to route near them. Different companies like manufacturing plants, all these sorts of things come into play when you're routing somewhere and you're not aware of them just like looking at that route yourself from point A to point B. That's where we come in. Let's see what's going on here. So the mission today, right, is we're going to compare the route between a truck and a car, and then we're also going to add in some of the different codes for hazmat, which avoid the certain routes that we talked about. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, or if you haven't been seeing it, comment your favorite Bond movie. We're going to be routing some of the film locations from Skyfall. But if you can comment a Bond movie and we have some time and we're playing around with it, we'll see if we can route between some film locations and other movies. We decided to do James Bond themed. To kind of add this escape aspect to routing trucks with different hazmat classes. That's the current idea, so we'll also get started on some fun code stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's see.
Let me know when you're ready, and I can just shift it over to you.
I think I can start right now. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
From last episode, from our previous episode, what was we finished with having a simple route, right? Mm-hmm. And we're going to be doing a little bit more of that. Let me see. Right now, what we have, yeah. So you can see our map. I think it's centered on Chicago this time. So what we have last time was just the ability to have several markers. I remember now. Mm-hmm. So if you could here, you was clicking here, several markers, and we create a route around them. Remember? Mm-hmm. So let's clear the markers. Yeah, that's what it is. So unfortunately, I don't have the code from last time, so I'm going to do it all over again because it's fun.
Yeah, there is that. Jose's computer had a terrible quarantine incident as well.
Yeah. Let's call it a crashing incident.
A crashing incident.
Literally. So let's see. We have declared markers. We're gonna add a new button. To execute the route. Let's call it.
So last time, if you weren't on the stream, we basically created a very essential route, which is just routing from point A to point B, and then we did a few spots in between. We mapped, I think, Pikachu as a route. We tried to do Mickey Mouse. It looked a lot more like a Pikachu. We talked a little bit about creating markers and setting them on the map, and then also we have a tutorial on doing custom markers, so changing that to different theme or a different specific image. So we even went through that, I think, a little bit. I think we even talked about custom markers, and we did different route colors as well. We recolored the route.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's say and create the routes. Let's start the route options. Options. Yeah. So in this case, let's see how it goes. So reload. We have the new button, the route, and in the map, when we create the markers and we create a route, we will expect the route to be created right there. So now let's call the code. Let's create the route. So this is our function. We create the route option. The initial options, of course, the minimum values that we need to have is first our API key, and second, the locations where you want to route. By default, this is the minimum values, and that allows you to create a normal route for a car, a route for an auto, and it will be starting now, like at this moment. Like from now, please create the route. And let's see, I create a root. Let's put another function. Yeah, I like this way to create function, create root. And we put the options here. Let's see.
And now this is where we can set different route parameters. So where do some of the route parameters come in if somebody's just sort of looking at the documentation, right? And they're wanting to say,
Yes.
hey, where do we include things like truck weight or the type of car or the type of engine?
Select root. And then we put the options. So this is the API call. It's called from our SDK for web in this case, because we're working on JavaScript right now. The calculate root receive the options and this receive a promise. So it's going to say, please go. And when you finish, return the promise, then we want to accept the response, which is a function that has the response. And in the response, let's take a look. We can take a look at the response. I know that the response at the beginning we can convert it into GeoJSON. That was the last in our last episode. Yeah, GeoJSON. We got the response to GeoJSON. And for now, console. Let's print it. Let's see what we get.
Yeah, let's print the console log.
For now. And let's see how that goes. So let's go back, reload. Quickly, I'm going to go to the JavaScript console, and if I have here, I create a root.
This is also a really good way to test before you get started to see if everything's working as well from last time.
Correct, and I have the first error right here is because I have defined the root options. It happens.
Which root options do we want to include?
Well, depends on what we have. First, we have to say that it is a truck or a commercial vehicle. Then we can set the.
We set commercial to true, right?
For example, or we can say it's a truck, commercial true, and we can say this is how much weight it has.
Yeah.
Or this is how tall it is, what's the height of it, so it will not go under certain bridges, for example.
Yes, yeah.
And as we can say what kind of load, which are the parameters that you mentioned in your slides. Yeah. So the issue here was that I have a typo here.
Typos.
Options.
Typos will kill you every time.
Typos.
It's always the typos.
Yeah. But let's see.
What was your worst code typo? Anybody in the chat? Because I've made some hilarious code typos.
Oh, I see. I have another error.
You have another error.
In the promise. Yes.
We love errors.
Yeah.
We love errors.
Yeah. So, keeps me on my toes.
Well, they're a very real part of life. You know what? We can't have the stream be too perfect also. It's unrealistic. It's a bad example.
So we have the calculator root, we have the options here. Very good. And then the response.
All right, when we're building the route, we'll get more into it, but every road segment will have a really specific category, right? Which will kind of present us with some different challenges and different options, because like we said, they use different historical data based on and working with the parameters that we set here. So we'll start by setting parameters, but then we'll realize when we start planning the route that we'll see some changes in how some of the traffic data is used from a lot of like recent events and things like that, like coronavirus and different levels of traffic fluctuating too. So we'll see that when we map it out a little bit more.
Well, it seems to be that I cannot see it. I don't see a problem here. Let me see quickly what is the error I'm getting here. As a type error, a point is expected, but object is given is in. Okay, have the markers.
We have the markers, we have the key, we have the old locations.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
okay.
I found the problem. It's very easy, and the thing is that the elements that we were okay, let me just show you. When we were when we're creating the markers here, what I'm adding is I put in the values in an array of markers.
Correct.
And what I'm passing is actually an array of I need an array of coordinates, lat and longs. So obviously it needs the coordinates. So we can math, no problem. Let's see if when we click, we're going to push the marker. Lot.
It's giving me a throwback to the last episode. We had to set the coordinates and put them in the array and make sure that it was cycling through correctly.
Correct. Okay, let's see. So we have 1 point here and 1 point there. Create the route, please. And voila.
And we see the log out and everything is looking okay.
Yes, so we have a value here. Let me just move here the code here a little bit. So we have the features, we have one element, and we have the geometry, which contains a set of coordinates. And this is a route. As I mentioned before, this is a very simple route, just an atom. And I'm sure that if we create more than 1 point, let's say three elements.
Yeah, and this test route is in, I think, Michigan, I want to say.
It's Chicago.
It's Chicago. Okay, so we're doing the basic test in Chicago. Very cool.
Yeah. So we'll see that in the geometry, now we have right now 2 sets of arrays. The first array is the first leg, which would be into this section here, from here to here, and we have another set of array, which should be this area here, this section here. Okay, now that we have the object itself in GeoJSON, we can create a layer, add a layer with the value. How about that? And with the values and display it. Okay, let's go to create root. Okay, we're going to. I had the already object created in the previous example, but I think it remembers map. We have to add the layer. And the layer to the options.
Yeah, because the layer is separate from the map display, so that's the important part that we covered last time, right? Is that the single route gets the geometrical shape, and then it adds it as the separate layer. So you have the map display, which was sort of our first episode, and then getting the route, and now we're getting the route, right? So building off of that, and now we're adding more specific parameters, right? Last time we did a little bit of like very baby tutorial with reachable range, but that's also something different, and that's in itself a separate layer. So now we're not doing reachable range since we're not routing electric trucks, but we're doing different parameters.
The source should be the GeoJSON, if I'm correct. The type should be like GeoJSON, because we're passing the GeoJSON response from our API, and the data is actually our GeoJSON data. Yeah. Now, okay, let me just go clean up a little bit here. I think we have to set now how it's going to be represented, the paint.
Yes, we want to set the different colors.
The paint. Let's see. Let's call this. We're going to draw a line. I know it's line color. What color would you like this?
For the truck layer? For the truck route?
No, this is the normal auto.
Let's do green for cars.
Green for cars.
And then we'll do red for our hazardous truck.
Fair enough.
Or I suppose we could do like orange or yellow too.
As well?
Yeah.
Let's go, let's do a 6. Okay, we can have the layer with the JSON. That should actually, do it.
Yeah, that should give us just the first basic line.
Yeah, this is just the basic line. Let's see how it goes. Now let's start from here, let's say, and let's end up here. Create the route, and something is wrong in the lane width and numbers expected. Why did I enter? Oh, what did I enter? I entered the line width is a 6, a number 6, not a string. do it again.
Line width is not a string.
Correct. That's from here and here. Let's create the route. Voila. So
that's our basic car route, correct? Yeah.
That's our basic car route. Now maybe we can do an experiment and change it to a truck.
Yes. So
and see how it's different. Maybe if you remember
may not get
a little
difference, yeah. We may not get a difference.
It cannot be different. Depends on the.
Depends on where we're going.
Let's see how. Okay, let's see how it goes. But here in the route options, how do we add? Let's see. Okay, you have the locations. We have the travel mode, and we can say a truck. Now, where did I get this? I think it's from. If you have any doubt, when you have any more information about it, when you know more about it.
Are we getting any blurriness on the stream? I'm wondering.
Go to developer portal. Actually, you don't have to go here. Let's go to the routing API. Common routing parameters.
This is the home of looking up your things like truck width and height, weight.
Every single parameter that we can use in the routing API. Yeah. As you can see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. The travel mode is the travel mode for the requested route, and it can be, as you can say, truck, taxi, bus, motorcycle. In this case, we're gonna stop with truck. Okay.
And that sets us up for even more parameters that we'll use. So that's when we have truck, we're then allowed to use the different parameters like the hazmat classes or the tunnel ADR codes, because when we are routing with those parameters, that's how our route engine will also know to avoid certain areas, right? Is when everything lines up there, because it's not necessarily useful for cars, right? Because we're not anticipating a hazmat load with a regular car.
Yes. Also, more of the options you can check here on the documentation. We have the vehicle height, the max speed, the axle length, lots of parameters to create a very specific route depending on the kind of vehicle you need to route. Okay, let's go travel mode and truck. Let's see how different routes look like. But what we really want to do is to compare. So let's go slowly here and let's see how it goes.
You want to compare because I want to know if it's going to take me an extra day to drive from Hong Kong to Macau. Like, that's the real point. Like, is my James Bond timeline going to get messed up at some point, right? Like, do I have to go around a lake or something? I mean, we're testing in Chicago, so it's not really as big of a deal. But for James Bond, it's going to be a big deal.
Yes. So you see, I see a little bit different, the routes with difference.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is let's create these two routes.
Yeah, let's layer them.
Display both of them and compare them.
Yeah, we want to layer them, and we want to see where the split off is, because that's really where we see where our delay is going to come from, our mission delay. It's important.
Correct. So we're going to add the, let's say, okay, let's pass the color as a parameter for the create route function. And when we create the ID, because we need to pass a specific different IDs for each one, let's put the color name as the value of ID, and we put the color here. Let's see. So if you pass the parameter, let's say create the route, and I want to see it orange.
And this is what will then differentiate our routes when we display them. So the route lines will then, we can separate them out.
Yeah, let's see if it looks okay. Perfect.
And now we have the orange route. Yep.
And we have a car. I removed the option for truck. So what we want to do is now.
Yeah.
Yes, but after displaying the route, we are going to add to the route options. We're going to say the travel mode to truck, and then we're going to create the route again. Let's create another route, and it will be with the same route options. So let's pass the same object, and now the color will be different. So you want to say red, and the car version will be green. Something like that.
Something like that. And that should give us the two, and they may draw on top of each other. But at the same time, we'll see when they split off. So sometimes if we may only see one route if they're exactly the same, because they're the same size, so they're going to overlay.
That is true. Let's see.
Let's see.
So we're still here. Let's start from this position to this here and create the route. Voila. So as you can see, the green one is the car, the automobile, which is going faster in this way. But as a truck, seems to be you're not allowed to go now in Chicago in this highway. You're not
I
only
wonder why. I mean, it could be due to a lot of things. Sometimes it's just due to the road, like the local laws about the road or the types of freeways. So sometimes the trucks have to avoid the freeways.
So, for example, if you are delivering something in Chicago, or should we move to another city? Let's take a look.
Should we move to another city? We tried Nashville before to test, or we can try going to Hong Kong and doing the long route.
Oh, okay.
Whatever works.
Okay.
So we definitely debated on where to route, and then we figured that this is a very fun looking route to go from Hong Kong to Macau. You'll see it, and I found it very fun. It looks very cool, and we also get to see the localized maps, which is really nice as well.
Yes, we have here Taiwan, and I think this is Hong Kong. Yes.
So this is where the mission starts, right?
Hong Kong, Macau.
Yes, and so we go over the water, which I think is really impressive.
So let's start from here. Let's go to another city here. Which is on the outskirts of Hong Kong, and my mouse here can go faster this way.
I know there's like rapid zoom happening in and out.
Yeah, I forgot. I was using the trackpad instead of using the mouse. And I have mouse.
That's much better.
So we have the two. Yes, it's actually more comfortable. So we can try the route, and as you can see, the green route, which is the auto, is being closed under the truck route because probably it's on the same location. Yeah. But at the end of Macau, there is a section that the truck is not allowed to go.
And that makes it very nice and obvious, right? Where we see that the car is allowed to. It looks like the car can take more of the freeway. It's
yes.
hard to see. Yeah, it looks like the car can take more of the freeway. Whereas the truck, but we also haven't specified any hazard yet or anything.
Oh, correct. And look at this. This is the artificial island of Hong Kong. There are a section that you can go by car, but you cannot go by truck.
Yeah, so perhaps the truck is too heavy at some point and it has to go on a different type of road.
There's something in this road that you're not allowed to.
And sometimes that changes with the height or the weight of the truck itself, even before you do a hazmat or anything. But also something that's important is that, right, every road segment right now when you're planning a route has a specific category. So we have historical data about every road segment. But when we're routing, we're encountering incidents only, right? But what's interesting to notice that right now we're planning routes in real time. If we plan routes ahead, it uses historical data, right? And so because of coronavirus and this whole circumstance, there are a lot of cities are empty traffic-wise, right? And so now historical traffic is not the most accurate because it's pulling recent history, which doesn't really reflect the kind of typical peak traffic that we would experience if everybody was still going to work and everybody was still going out and doing their normal things. So the best way to route now is not to plan routes ahead, but is to use the real-time planning to get the real-time data. Because you can also plan routes into the future, which we talked about last time. But it's good to know that you can't do that in the same way because it'll show different traffic-related information than you might be used to.
I love the skyline.
I like the skyline. I like how that's showing. But here, I mean, right, so we're getting into a really dense urban area, and even though we're routing with trucks, like the route engine still knows which segments go under bridges and through tunnels and things like that. And so when we specify the load or the height and things like that, that's part of the pre-planning, which makes it super clear.
All right, let's do some more experiments.
Let's
see if let's do like you are in the US and you are carrying some explosive. How about that?
Yeah, sure. Which class do we use? Because the US has different ones. I know we're going to route the sort of.
Yes, if you can check look here, the vehicle load type is explosive is hazmat class 1.
Yeah, so should we do like class 6?
6 is poisons.
Yeah. Do you think that'll affect anything?
So, well, if you go through a reserve or a park area, I think you're not allowed to go through.
Yeah, because there's environmental damage.
Correct. It's possible, so you're not allowed to. Do you know any nice location that we can route? We can route to nice park?
Oh, well, we could route through Colorado, or we can route through New Mexico. I know we thought about New Mexico earlier.
Yes.
We can route through
Coral Gable, yeah, okay.
Yeah?
Let's
do
start with the vehicle load type parameters and let's see how it looks like first.
Let's do it.
So it's a vehicle load type. So in the parameters, we already say it is truck, and in the route options, it's a vehicle load type, and we're gonna say US hazmat class 6. Okay. Class 6, something like that. And would you like to add more restrictions? Let's see, certain weight. We can say it was a standard semi. Is around average. I did a little research about it. I said it could be from 8 tons to 11 to 12 tons. Let's have the standard ones.
Yeah, let's do that.
Options,
just so we can show the hazmat, because that way it's standard. Let's see.
Vehicle.
Do we have any tunnel? But tunnel restrictions work differently in the US. I don't know if we have as many specific tunnel restrictions for the hazmat classes.
That I'm not so sure how it will work, but I know that there are tunnels and underpasses that you're not allowed to go because of your height or because what you're carrying is true.
But you don't have to plan for it because the route engine will actually plan it for you.
Yes.
So that's built in, which is good. So you won't take an incorrect route or an illegal route.
Yes. So let's see something in New Mexico. Let's go to Albuquerque.
I have not been to Albuquerque. I think that'd be fun. I wanted to go to Roswell because I wanted to see some aliens, which apparently are in the news too.
Sorry, what?
There
were aliens in the news?
I saw something float across that we might have like intelligent life on other planets, but I don't know.
That's interesting.
I mean, it's 2020, so really.
You're talking about Area 51.
Well, I mean.
Well,
Area 51 is in Nevada, right? But Roswell's in New Mexico. Roswell would be fun. That would be fun to go to.
Las Cruces. Silver City.
You've been to New Mexico, though, right?
I've been to Albuquerque and and I've been to Santa Fe.
Is anybody on the stream from Albuquerque? Want to know?
Santa Fe.
An alien map? I would love an alien map. I would like that's a good idea. Is to route between like alien sightings. Like area we can drive from Roswell to Area 51 to like where the Phoenix Lights, that's a good one. That's a good solid. I remember alien events, so that we get some sort of like southwest US vibes.
It's interesting that in this area of in the States, there's only like one big highway. It's connecting. There are no other alternatives. There's no way to go this way, unless you have a small roads, right? So let's see if we can map using these also small roads, and see what restriction do we get. But for example, let's start with Albuquerque.
So if the aliens were trying to drive, they have limited with the semi. They have limited options.
Correct. especially if you go in Albuquerque, you have to go through Santa Fe. Let's see. Let's go from Las Lunas to Santa Fe.
That's a great name. I like that name. Las Lunas.
Let's go ahead. Okay. So obviously, there is only one way to go, but I can see that.
Oh, but there's one way they can't go.
Correct.
There's still one way they can't go.
They only got only the highway this way. Yeah. They can go only this way, this highway.
So
they cannot go through this.
So they can't go through there. Maybe it's because of the river. Oh, because we did class 6, right?
Correct.
But we're theorizing, right? We don't know for sure, but interesting. Okay, so
let's see if we
the
can
aliens
do
come through Albuquerque. We know where they're going.
something like that.
TLDR.
Correct.
Alien truck routing with TomTom apparently happening.
Yes.
Happening right now.
Let's see another one. Washington to New York.
Sure,
maybe?
East Coast. Let's do it.
East Coast.
East Coast.
Let's go from Alexandria all the way to New York. Let's go to Brooklyn.
It's been a really long time since I've been to New York.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
So to Bottom Hill. Let's say here.
For sure.
So
that's going to be fun. There are going to be a lot of different freeways that we might have to avoid, and there's tunnels. There's some really good... Oh, apparently...
There it is.
Oh, there's a big difference. Oh, that's a big difference. Does
here.
it say have to go through Baltimore? Question mark? That's what it looks like.
Yeah, you have to go through Baltimore. You can go through here.
Oh, maybe it's because one is the over water travel, and it could also be like a state law thing. Maybe I don't know. It depends on what state we're crossing through. But we go over water a lot less if we go through Baltimore.
Yeah, as you can see, it's it's very different here.
It's different.
If you go through Washington, you cannot go.
You cannot go through Washington, which of course makes sense.
This makes total sense.
Yeah, of course.
Makes total sense.
Sometimes you also can't go near airports. That one kind of bypasses the airport pretty well, though, because usually can't go through airports unless you have jet fuel.
This is the
fueling the planes.
Yeah, correct. Well, we started here, so obviously you have to go this way as quickly as the highway as possible. No, the fastest way, which is should be this one here.
Yeah.
For example. Yeah.
Oh yes, and quick extra shout out, like we said we would do during the stream, is that if you're already on the dev portal and you're wanting to develop with us, use the bit.ly that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen for more free API credits. Also, or you can just click the button with the blue gears at the right below the stream description. Click on that, and there's also some good tutorials tagged on there to help you out with what we're doing. Extra shout out.
Yeah. We haven't been to Europe.
Let's
finish with Europe.
Where in Europe? Okay. Oh, I wonder if Vatican City has a restriction. Because that's like a sovereign country, and I bet they have a bunch of restrictions.
Let's go there. Let's go there. I'm sorry that my internet connection is very slow. I have my Wi-Fi in the other room, so the connection is very loading the maps. It takes a while. Yeah,
you have to render everything, but it's looking okay. I think it's looking good. Also, spam us in the chat if it's getting blurry or there's something weird going on. We'd like to know. Just in case.
Very good. So let's take a look. You say Vatican City?
Vatican City, because I want to bet that it's going to be very hard to route a truck into Vatican City.
Well, let's see. We can go from, what's the name of this? Tarquinia. And we go up to this section, and we make sure they have to go through Rome.
You have to go through Rome. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes. So
are we going to change the hazmat class at all, maybe? Do we want to change it to something else, like an explosive class?
Actually, for Europe, also we can use the ADRs.
Yes, let's do the ADR in case we encounter a tunnel, because then we can see that. Like.
Yes. And we don't see any red.
Oh, it looks like the exact same route.
Yeah.
So this is a good example of, apparently there's nothing specific that we're hitting.
Hold on a second. I want to check this.
It looks too sus. It looks suspicious. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I got an error. I have too many requests.
You have too many requests.
Yes, it can happen when I'm trying. Okay, first I have to lower my thing here. I'm going to try to reload again. Oh, by the way, I think we should start, if we're going to start in Italy, we should literally move to Rome. Let me see if I can do so.
Oh, did it pivot back to the United States?
Yeah, when I
Okay.
reload
Yeah,
stuff.
it's okay.
I'm going to add Madrid on this on my code.
Fun fact: Jose always adds Madrid.
Yes, because I like Madrid. And we're going to start the map on Madrid.
You always know I always know when I get one of Jose's maps, because the center is always on Madrid.
Yes. Totally non-biased.
It's non-biased at all.
Not
I usually
at all.
center my maps on Berlin, come to think of it. But this also makes sense.
Yes. So loading a little bit, and we haven't tried more than one waypoint. Let's see if from
Yes, let's do 3 waypoints.
Aravaca, this one, and this one, and show me the route. Of course, that's totally logic in the sense that first you have to go through.
You have to go all the way around the city.
The fastest way. Yeah. A truck will never be able to go here with that hazardous materials.
Too small, yeah.
You have to go all the way here.
Yeah.
But I know that there are some tunnels around Madrid.
Oh,
also,
okay.
I think.
That makes sense.
But we can try to see from ADR codes. Let me see. How do you set the ADR code? Do you remember?
So you set it as the
vehicle
vehicle ADR tunnel restriction.
Restriction code. And we have to say let's say
type C.
Type C.
Type C, because that's the explosion and toxic release, which I feel like is very problematic for the tunnels, because some of the lower ones don't necessarily hit. They should hit all the tunnels, but the C should definitely.
Options. And important, I think C. Correct. Important that the ADR tunnel restrictions and the vehicle load types are totally independent.
Yes, they're independent. So
independent.
you have to set them.
You have to set them if your vehicle is carrying this and you have this tunnel restriction. So if you need to use both, use both.
They're not automatically related, right? Because we're talking about two different classes, and they're also cross-country because ADR tunnel restrictions in Europe and US hazmat is obviously here, correct?
Yeah, this is also for the US as well.
Yeah.
But for Europe, we don't use this one. We use either other hazmat explosive. This is for
it's
Europe.
categorized differently. So
yes.
And we have both because obviously we're Europe based.
We can say explosive.
Yep.
For example,
and that will include both bases basically.
Yes. And then that we're doing for Europe.
Yep.
Let's say here vehicle load type.
And that way we're using both European indications as opposed to using the US hazmat.
Correct.
So I wonder if it gives a big difference. I wonder if it's categorized differently if we're mapping in Europe using a US hazmat as opposed to mapping in Europe with a European hazmat.
Let's see. Well, we started in Aravaca.
Complicated questions.
And say how goes that? Well, that looks very much different.
We haven't been. It does look different. Yes. Okay, so that's a big difference, right? If we're using the European tunnel codes.
Right. This is no problem here. This is
the car is no different.
The fastest.
Yeah.
The green is the fastest way, the fastest route from here, and then, wow, this truck actually have to go all the way here
and has to turn around.
Of course, because we have a waypoint. And then go all over here to this
so
bypass.
That's the stop, and then
turn around
and
continue.
That's very difficult. That's not the best. That's not the most fun route. I mean, that's the correct route, but it's not the most fun to drive.
Correct.
And it avoids the airport as well.
Indeed.
It's going around the airport, or also could have taken the A2 maybe. Okay.
Yeah. You cannot go through here, for example.
Yeah. Correct. So it avoids pretty large distance. The airport.
Yeah.
So you can see it in action. This is also real time. So this is if we were going to take this route right now. It's not an hour from now or a day from now. It's right now.
Of course, I think you already mentioned that it was going for now. It will use the current traffic incidents.
Yeah, and you want to use current. You want to use the current traffic incidents because all the cities are empty right now, and so historical data has some back and forth to it. Okay. Cool.
All right. how about this demo? Let us know, or let me know if you are interested in having the code for this. Are going to post it? I think we're going to post it in our GitHub repository.
Yeah, we'll post it on GitHub, and also this recording will be up. I usually make a fun clip, so maybe the alien route will be up. But this will also be available later today on Twitch, so you can watch the full recording. It's always available immediately after. And then also you can make clips yourself of helpful points, whatever you thought was most helpful. You can make a clip of it, and it'll exist on the stream. And
yes,
that's our sort of hazard mapping, James Bond / Alien style, I guess, in Europe, in the US, wherever. Tunnel codes, no tunnel codes. I think we did.
ADR restrictions,
yeah,
everything.
We did all.
Don't forget to go. Visit our documentation. Is there? We have a lot of parameters.
Yes,
I think whatever combinations you can add.
You can get very exact.
For your,
we just kind of scratched the surface
of the system.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
And that's it.
That's it for us today. But happy mapping.
Well,
let us know if you have any more questions, or ping us on Twitter as well. We're always on Twitter and happy to help. If you try this, let us know. Tweet about it and tag us, because we'd love to retweet you or feature on the stream. And let us know also what else you'd like to see. We're always looking for fresh ideas.
Yeah. Very nice, Olivia. Yay!
Nice, Jose. We love the routes. Okay. Happy mapping, everybody.
Happy mapping.
See you next time. Remember, every other Tuesday, so it'll be the Tuesday after next. We're going to be doing another stream. We have the schedule down below always of what we'll be doing. So catch us in another 2 weeks.
Are we doing the geofencing, I think?
We are doing, let's see, what are we doing? We're doing a geofencing intro.
Geofencing intro.
Yes. So that's going to be fun.
API.
Yes. So we'll start some asset tracking, which is a pretty cool use case. So have a good one. Happy mapping, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.